Okay, so here's another amazing Herbie lick, and this one is on the tune All of You off of the Miles Davis album Live at the Plugged Nickel, which I highly recommend if you haven't checked it out. It's a classic album, and it starts with a little pickup going into the F minor chord, so this is like a 2-5-1 to E flat major. So we start with a little augmented arpeggio starting on E, so you put your middle finger on E on the third string, ninth fret, then your middle finger goes to A flat on the next string, and then pointer finger goes to C on the first string. So once you hit C, that's beat 1 of the F minor, right? So you can see what he's doing there is he's just doing like the 5 of the F minor. So, 5 of F minor would be C7. So he's just playing a C augmented arpeggio, which is a great arpeggio to get that 5 sound. So we have... And then from there, it pretty much stays triplets the entire time. I think it changes up at the very end, but most of it is just eighth note triplets. And this is all over F minor. So starting from the F minor chord, we have the C, and then you go to the G on the second string with the same finger, and then hammer on to B flat with your pinky, and then pick G, hammer on to A flat with your pointer. Okay, so a lot of slurring going on for the first half of this. Now this next part, I was experimenting with a couple of different articulations, and it seemed like just picking it got it to come across the clearest. That part right there. So what we have here, we have our ring finger on C on the fourth string, middle finger goes to E on the next string, and then pointer finger goes to G. So if you look at that, it's a C major arpeggio, right? But against F minor, that could work because it gives you the 5, the major 7, and the 9, right? So major 7 is a very common note to add on to the, outside of the Dorian scale. You can do the major 7 if you want. It's a cool sound. So far now we have... Okay, so after the C, and then you go back to E, pick the E, and then pick F with your ring finger, up to G, and then pick A flat. Okay, so I'm picking every note from that part on when you start with the C major arpeggio. So now we have... Okay, so far, just off of that, we have, and that's everything for the F minor chord. We have the C augmented arpeggio to target the F minor chord. Then once we get to the F minor, it's basically like F. You could think of it as F melodic minor. I guess there's no 6, but if you look at as far as intervallically what's going on, right? You have the 5, 9, 11, 9, flat 3, 5, major 7, 9, major 7, root, 9, flat 3. So you can think of it like that if you want. Okay, now here's my favorite part. So we have these slurs going on, and this is when we get to the B flat dominant 7 chord. So I was doing it like this. This part's a little weird on the guitar. It doesn't translate the best, but you put your pointer finger on A, and then you do this little 2-note slur. So you A, hammer on to B flat with your middle finger, and then hammer on to B with your ring. Okay? And then you do the same thing a fret higher from where we leave off. So we leave off on the 12th fret, so then we put our pointer finger on 13 and do the same thing. So then it's C, C sharp, D, only picking the first note. Okay? And then from here, this is really cool. And this is, I kind of thought about this for a while, and I saw something interesting in this little line right here. So I'm going to explain that in one sec. But the fingering from there, I'm sorry. Then your middle finger goes to F sharp on the first string. And you hammer on to G, pull back off to F sharp, and then pull off to E. And then pick D on your second string. Sorry. And then you do the exact same thing that we did here. You do it here. So middle finger on C sharp, hammer on to D, pull off to B. I'm sorry, pull off to C sharp and B. And then middle finger goes to A, and then your pointer finger goes to B flat. So this is interesting because it has a delayed resolution, meaning that when we get to the E flat major chord, he's still thinking over the B flat 7. Like that right there, that note is the start of the E flat major chord. And then you hear the resolution when we get to that B flat chord, but it's a little bit later in the measure, but that's a really cool sound. So the thing that I discovered when I was looking at this part is if you look at this part, it looks like E Dorian, right? So I was thinking, does E Dorian work over B flat 7. And the conclusion that I came to was like, this is going to get a little bit theoretical, but if you're familiar with tritone sub 2-5-1s, right? So if B flat 7 is the dominant chord, the tritone sub of that would be E7, right? So if we're thinking in terms of 2-5-1s, right, B minor would be the related 2 chord of E7. So you can think B Dorian over B flat 7, right? And then I was thinking about that and I thought, well, E Dorian is only a fourth higher. So anytime you're moving scales in fourths, you're only changing one note. So the note that would be changing would be, so in Dorian, from B, we have, right? And then it's that G. When we go to E Dorian, it's that G natural that changes, which is what he's doing right here. And that gives you a really cool sound because now if you're looking at that if you're looking at E Dorian against B flat 7, you have the sharp 5 and the natural 13, right? And that creates a really cool sound. I really like the sound of that against B flat. Okay? And then the bottom part right here, that just looks like B flat altered, right? So it has a lot of those altered tonalities that stay the same, but then it's got that one thing right there, the sharp 5 and the natural 13. So that's really cool for soloing too, because let's say you wanted to start superimposing E Dorian over B flat 7. You can be playing 2-5-1s, play F Dorian, E Dorian, and then E flat major. So you just literally just move down a half step and play Dorian. So that can be a cool little idea for soloing if you want to try it out. So, okay, and then from there, once we're on the B flat note, obviously now we're back to the home key of E flat. And then from there, I put my middle finger on G on the 3rd string, pull off to F with my pointer finger. And then the last 2 notes, E flat with my ring finger, and then D with my middle. Alright, so I'll do the line slow and then I'll speed it up.